Hello, welcome back. Right, as you can see, it's Zynaps time for the Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum and Amstrad CPC 464. I'm familiar with the Spectrum version. I had it back in the day. I still have my tape, but it's in that lot somewhere, and I'm deliberately putting my head in front of the cabinet so you can't see how badly organised it is, because if you've got OCD, you'll explode. Today was the first time I've ever played the Commodore 64 and Amstrad versions of it, though. I loved it back in the day on the Specky, and I think if you were to ask people to name their sort of favourite shoot 'em up games on the ZX Spectrum, Zynaps would be in whatever list they came up with. If not at the top, then very close. I think people would name R-Type quite a lot as well. But yeah, and as ever, the aim of the game is just to have a look at them, shut up phone, and see what their differences and similarities are, weaknesses and strengths of all the versions. And as ever, to have a discussion about them all. Right, let's get into it. So it's Commodore 64, Spectrum, Amstrad CPC 464. That's the running order. Okay, welcome back. Right, here we go. Zynaps on the Commodore 64. Never played this until about 10 minutes ago. So let's have a look and see how this fares. Right, here we go. Now, one thing that did immediately impress me was how sort of nice and, I don't know if it's even a word, shoot 'em uppy this appears. It's obviously familiar as Zynaps. The graphics are nice, moves really well, and it's got that lovely sort of thumping, sort of shoot 'em up sort of sound effects that, oh, bloody hell. You associate the sort of C64 with. It's moving at a decent sort of speed as well. So again, question is, Commodore 64 fans, your views and thoughts on this version of Zynaps if you played it. Oh, for bugger's sake. I've forgotten what I was going to say. Yeah, those of you who don't know this version, those of you familiar with the Spectrum or Amstrad versions only, again, your thoughts. I think it plays, oh, bloody hell. Quite well. It's obviously playing to a lot of the Commodore 64's strengths in shifting sort of sprites about and stuff. It's a little bit sort of slow. It's not fast and frantic, but it's got a challenge to it, mostly because of the sort of narrow corridors. You're forced to sort of fly through. And bugger again. I've never actually got to the end of the first level. Well, I've got to the end of it once. I haven't beaten the sort of bad guy at the end because I haven't played it enough, basically. But yeah, my impressions of this are favourable, very favourable. This is good. I'm starting to like Commodore 64 shooters. I'm sure there are some bad ones. Oh, I'm going to get stung. I got stuck in a corner there. Right, I've got one more life. The only sort of bad thing about it is that it does shove you right back at the start, no matter how far you've got into the level, which can be a bit of a pain in the backside. Well, it's a lot of a pain in the backside. Actually! I failed my space pilot's license a long time ago. I don't know why they keep on getting me in to save the universe. Let's have a couple more goes on that. Zynaps for the Commodore 64, and then we'll have a look at it on the Amstrad, and then the Spectrum. Now yeah, this is very good. I'm struggling again, as ever, as always, with joystick control, and this your spaceship in this really sort of is quite responsive, sometimes a little bit too responsive maybe, I don't know. Yes, that was just the slightest sort of flick of the joystick there, but yeah, it's ooh, that was a bit close. Now he's fired off a flipping weapon before I blew him up, so let's collect the blobs. Come on. So again, you got to sort of collect the pods to build. Oh, yes, it's definitely me. It's not the game that's making me do that. I'm liking the big sort of chunky main spaceship graphic, and there seem to be an awful lot of jellyfish in space. Oh, whoa! One more, one more go. Yes, yes, my score is not ranked. I get that. Yeah, very good graphics. Nice and colourful. Not as sort of well defined as they are on the Spectrum, but you know, they do the job they need to do. So, you know, I won't complain about that too much. Really good, like I said, meaty sound effects. Right. Come on, Baz. Show these buggers. Yeah, there's an awful lot of jellyfish in space. You know, flying jellyfish as well. Imagine that. I don't want to go into space if it's full of flying jellyfish. Ouch! Oh! Wow. Yeah. It's the joystick controls a bit too. Oh, shut up, phone. Bit too twitchy for my liking. But that. Oh, likely just me. Nothing wrong with the collision detection. Come on. And it is. Oh, Alf! I was looking at the jellyfish. I was jellyfish spotting, and I didn't see the bullets. Jellyfish that fire bullets. Ah, come on. Let's try and at least get to the end of the level again, just to prove to myself it was no fluke. Oh. Now this sort of cracked version that I have, it does have the options for infinite life. Oh, come on, one more go for infinite lives and invulnerability and stuff like that. But I've not bothered with that. As you can see, you know, oh, it's getting a bit close now. Ah! I'm not holding out much hope, people. Oh no, last life, right, and then I'm going to wrap this expose of the Commodore C. Oh, alright, that really is it. That's the Commodore 64 version of Zynaps, and I was really quite impressed with what little I got to see of that. Right, now let's move on, and we will have the ZX Spectrum coming up next, I think. Shall we? Yeah, why not? Hello, right, welcome back. Okay, here we go with the Spectrum version of Zynaps. Let's try and get this going. I've got my controls redefined now. QAOP in space. This is the version I grew up with, and many of us did, so let's see how we get on with this. As ever, you're not going to get a playthrough of this. I'll try and do my best. But one thing I've always loved about the Spectrum version is just how nice it looks. I mean, the graphics on it are really, really good. It's a great shoot 'em up. And, you know, I love the meaty sort of sound effects as well. Now, we're just seeing the Commodore 64... Oh, the Commodore 64 version. So, I'd like to sort of know how you think this is comparing to that. This plays you know, it's a challenging shoot 'em up because of, like I said, it's like set in sort of narrow corridors, and then the second one starts with an asteroid field. Ooh, right. So I'm a little bit more hopeful that I can get a bit further using keys than I did in the Commodore 64 version. Oh dear. But yeah, really nice and colourful, very well animated. The ship as well is very manoeuvrable, but sometimes I find you sometimes get sort of cornered by the sort of homing bombs, etc. that the others, that the bad guys fire. Now, the one good advantage the Spectrum version has over the C64 version is that when you die, you don't go all the way back to the start of the level, which is a godsend really, especially if you've taking hours to get to a specific place. Oh, right, so I'm at the end of the first level already. Let's hope I can beat this boss. Oh, no, no, I can't, is the answer. Oh, never mind. Well, the screen's a bit wonky, the camera's a bit wonky, I've just noticed that. Please accept my apologies for that. Just tilt your heads or pretend you're on a ship or something like that. And I'm sure you'll be fine. Ah! Whoa, didn't get any of them. Well, hardly any of them. Now, see, I'm lumbered with a shite gun again. Ah, see, look, I just got cornered there. Let's try and unwonky the camera, my technical term. Ah! Oh! Well, that'll be game over. No, let's just be Mr. R today. Right, okay, let's get into it. If you were to say to, I think I said it at the start, if you didn't, I'll say it again. If you'd ask most people to sort of like define or name some great shoot-em-ups on the Spectrum, it's very, very likely that Zynaps will be in there somewhere close to the top, if not at the top for a lot of people, because it really is quite something. It's addictive. It ain't easy, but you know, I watch YouTube videos of people sort of playing it, and they make it look easy, which, you know, bastards, show-offs. Oh, for God's sake. But yeah, let me try at least to get to the sort of second level on it. I did it the other day when I sort of played it. Oh, for God's sake. That's going to be game over. Oh, yeah, okay. We won't dwell on that screen for too long. Right. Let's try and get the sort of special weapons here. Oh, come on, super concentration, Bez. At least I've got some sort of decent firepower now. I haven't sort of unlocked any specials as yet. Now I have. Although I don't really know what that does. It's just a cursor by the look of things. Oh. Right. Yeah, so at least on this one, it doesn't sling you all the way back to the front of the level, which for me is a godsend. Oh, and again, the sort of ship is very manoeuvrable. It needs to be at times like this when you got those little blue dots coming after you. Now, not so many jellyfish in the Spectrum version, which is always good. Now I want those bastards to disappear, don't I? Damn. Oh, come on. Right, but yeah, such an impressive game. If you've never seen it or played it, is this going to make you want to? Oh dear, that was close. That's going to be close as well. That's not going to be close. I've done that one. Ah! Oh, I was showing off. Oh, go on. Right, okay. I've got to have one more go to try and get back to the second level. And then we'll move on to the Amstrad. I'm really sorry about that. I got sort of carried away. Right. Come on. Right. Oh. Right. So yeah, there's an awful lot of action going on in quite tight, confined spaces. No, that weren't fair. A little bit of collision detection problems there. Well, that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. I think the worst shoot 'em up I've played on the Spectrum is one called Speed Zone, which I did a video of about 2 years ago now, and it basically is super fast. It's so fast you literally cannot, and it's not me just saying it, you just cannot sort of get anywhere on it. Oh shit, I've only got my last life and then Amstrad. And I'm on the shit gun again now. Oh god, I've got, yeah. Come on, come on. Damn. Right, okay, I tried my very best there. I really did. I'm so sorry. Right, Amstrad to bring up the rear. Righty-ho, Amstrad version now. Let's get that going. I've got the lights out here. I can't actually see the keys very well. Right, there we go. See what this is like. Again, I'm going to ask you to, Amstrad owners, shout out what your memories of this game were. Spectrum, Commodore 64 fans who are familiar with your respective versions of Zynaps, what do you make of the Amstrad version when I eventually get to showing it to you? This is, of course, loading off the USB to DDI3 doodah thingy. What's it? Right, so I want to press 3 to define my keys. Wow, that's a bit flat. That's hurting my eyes. So I want space for fire, Q, A, O, P. Right, so let's get into the game. Now I have played this about 10 minutes. And one thing I did notice was that the collision detection on it in parts is slightly ropey. See, as I showed you just there. Now this version that I've downloaded, I did notice that it appears to be a sort of a cracked version, and it's got sort of infinite lives, which, you know, is helpful, I suppose, but I haven't done it on purpose. I do want to sort of try and play the game. Now, it's running quite a bit slower than the other versions that I showed you, and I'm not sure it's for the better. I mean, it looks okay. Sounds shoot 'em uppy, I suppose, but you've got not as much manoeuvrability as in the other versions, in that you can't sort of go backwards in the game, and that's really quite sort of lacking that. If you see there, I'm finding it difficult to go, and the controls aren't massively responsive either. Now I don't know whether or not perhaps my keyboard's a little bit spongy, but I've played other games perfectly fine on this, and it's worked alright. Now I've got some decent sort of firepower, you know, things are going a little bit better, but the enemy sort of graphics are a bit sort of uninspiring. Now, perhaps it's to do with the fact that I've literally only just played the Commodore 64 Spectrums and versions before this, that is making it probably look a little bit less enjoyable than it is. I don't know, but it's not fantastic on the Amstrad, is what I was saying. And, you know, and I'll say it's quite a disappointment. I mean, yeah, like it. Oh, come on. This is really quite hard work. Right. Now I'm saying that, I have looked at Zynaps on the Amstrad on YouTube, of course, and some of the later levels and some of the effects somewhere in places look really cool. There's a level that's made of like giant bubbles and you get the reflections in them and everything. Now, like I say, this is set on infinite lives, not because I've done it, it just seems to be that, oh fuck, the version that I've chosen to download is one of those that has it. So, and it's not, I won't say it's terrible, it's average. But compared to the others, it, you know, it is a, it's not a close third. It's quite a distance behind. And see there again. Yeah, it's quite a distance behind the other two versions. And again, that's a bit of a shame because the Amstrad is a incredibly capable machine. And when its strengths are played to, as we've seen several times, you know, it's capable of some stunning results. Oh, come on. Oh. Now I'm pressing the fire button and I know I'm sort of like got to collect the pods to, shit. You see what I mean? It's not as instantly manoeuvrable on the Amstrad as it is on the other two. And that is a big sort of down marking for it. And it's and look, I can't go back and get those things. You know, it's scrolling nicely enough. I'll have just a couple more sort of goes at this. You know, oh, come on. I don't want the bouncing bomb. Yeah, it's quite uninspiring. You know, we've got a bit more firepower going now. Yeah, I was saying, wasn't I, about Speed Zone on the Spectrum, I think, on the Spectrum video, and I completely forgot to finish it. Jesus Christ. Right, one more go, then that's us done. I'm really, really sorry about this. Yeah, just, you don't have the sort of reverse manoeuvrability, if that's a word. Oh, come on. No, oh, right, okay. Yeah, couldn't really show you an awful lot more than that. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Zynaps for the Amstrad. Okay, there we go. Commodore 64 version. I was really quite impressed with. Never sort of seen it before. It played really well. It was a great little shoot 'em up, I thought. Lots of jellyfish in it though, as I think I over-egged that particular line several times throughout the segment. But yeah, great graphics. It resembled Zynaps. You could tell what it was meant to be. Really good crunchy sort of sound effects as well. And you know, just the right sort of level of difficulty really. I found the joystick controller a little bit twitchy, but shouldn't really mark the game down for that because that is most likely down to me. the Spectrum version, it just looks and sounds wonderful. It's got those nice crunchy sort of sound effects, really clear, crisp graphics. I don't as yet know how that segment has come out on the this crap camera, because as we know, we've been having focus issues lately. But yeah, I thought always thought the Spectrum version was a fantastic game, and the Amstrad version, I've got to say, was a disappointment. I found it slow. I found it quite difficult to control. It looked nice, had decent enough sound effects, but it just, you know, the ship lacked all the manoeuvrability that the Commodore and Spectrum versions sort of gave you. And that sort of was a bit of a game changer for me. Now, I dare say there are people out there that enjoy the Amstrad version of Zynaps, but I have to say I found it distinctly average. You are, of course, entitled to disagree with me, as you are with all the versions. Now, that's what the purpose of the video was, just to sort of generate some discussion about what our memories are of whatever version of Zynaps that we know and love. If you like the video, please let me know. If you wish to subscribe, please do so. But if you do, please, please, please take the time to join in with the conversations, because that's what it's all about. Okay, thanks ever so much for watching. Take care. Goodbye.